Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show that digs into the source material to give you, well, a shortcut to being truly informed. Today we're tackling a virtue that feels both ancient and incredibly relevant right now, temperance, or, the Greek term sophrosyne. It's about self-mastery, really, in a world that seems designed to test it constantly.
It really is, and it's vital, but honestly, often quite misunderstood. We're talking about the fourth cardinal virtue here, alongside wisdom, courage, and justice. It covers self-control, moderation, discipline, the whole package.
Right.
And think about it in a world just flooded with distractions, temptations, endless noise, and being able to master yourself isn't just, a nice to have, it's fundamental.
Fundamental for a more ordered life,
Mer-
freer life.
Exactly. It's the path to getting there. It's about building that internal resilience so you can navigate all the external chaos without getting swept away.
Okay, so our mission today is to unpack this.
Mm.
We're looking at how ancient philosophies, especially Stoicism, understood temperance, how they practiced it.
Yeah, how they thought about conquering those destructive desires, finding balance inside, and achieving real freedom from our own worst impulses.
And hopefully this deep dive will give you, our listener, some practical insights. Wisdom that's thousands of years old, but feels like it could have been written yesterday.
It really does. Think of it as your shortcut to understanding why this virtue isn't just about restriction, about saying no. It's more about wisely directing your yes.
That's a great way to put it. And it's important to clear something up right away, isn't it? Temperance isn't just about strict abstinence or being joyless.
Absolutely crucial point. People often hear temperance or stoicism and think, rigid self-denial, maybe even a bit miserable, but that's really not the full picture.
So what is it then, in the Stoic view?
It's much more nuanced. It's about achieving an internal balance, a kind of rightful ordering of your desires and impulses. It's not necessarily about total deprivation.
Less like a cage, more like
No,
conducting an orchestra.
that's a perfect analogy. It's like a skilled conductor bringing all those potentially chaotic desires into a beautiful, harmonious arrangement. It's knowing when to moderate, and maybe more importantly, why that moderation serves your overall tranquility and flourishing.
And when we talk self-mastery in the ancient world, the Stoics really are front and center, aren't they?
They are. This school of philosophy wasn't just about thinking deep thoughts. They had, as one source puts it, a whole armamentarium, a toolkit, really.
A toolkit of psychological techniques.
Exactly, designed for living well. They were like engineers of the soul, you could say, giving you a blueprint for building inner strength.
And the ultimate goal of all this engineering.
The goal was tranquility. The Greek word is apatheia. No, that doesn't mean apathy like we use the word today, like not caring.
Right, not indifference to suffering.
No, quite the opposite in a way. It's a deep state of mind where you experience very few negative emotions, anxiety, grief, fear, anger. But it's not just an absence of bad feelings.
It's also the presence of good ones.
Yes, an abundance of positive emotions. Joy, contentment, a real sense of purpose, and this deep, lasting tranquility that's the direct result, the fruit of self-mastery, of living temperately, a life where your inner world is ordered, not just thrown around by every external event.
So to guide us through this, we've got a stack of sources. We're looking at the Stoic masters themselves, Seneca, Epictetus,
Yeah.
Marcus Aurelius.
Right, they're actual words, plus some really helpful modern takes that interpret and apply their ideas.
And our goal is to pull out the key insights for you, the listener. So you're not just informed, but maybe equipped with some practical tools you can actually use. Your shortcut to a really profound virtue. Ready to dig in?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's get to the core of temperance because, like you said, it's so easily misunderstood. People hear stoicism, self-control, and they picture, I don't know, living in a cave, denying yourself, everything fun. Is that it?
Yeah.
Is stoicism basically just cynicism, which did kind of advocate for that really bare-bones life?
That's such a common mix-up, and it's vital we clear it up right at the start. No, Stoicism is not about forcing yourself into poverty or rejecting all pleasure.
Okay.
Seneca himself, one of our key sources, and definitely not a poor man, made this really clear. He said Stoicism calls for plain living, but not for penance.
Plain living, not penance. What's the difference?
It means you, as someone practicing Stoicism, can absolutely acquire wealth, enjoy comforts, even some luxuries. There's just one huge condition.
Which is?
You can't harm others to get it, and this is key. You have to be careful not to cling to it. It's not about what you have, it's about your relationship to what you have.
Ah, so it's the attachment, the clinging, that's the problem, not the thing itself.
Precisely. Seneca had this really powerful way of putting it. He said, I shall despise riches alike when I have them and when I have them not. Meaning, he wouldn't be cast down if they shall lie elsewhere, nor puffed up if they shall glitter around me. It's about cultivating this deep indifference to externals in terms of your inner peace.
So you can enjoy them if they're there.
Yes, enjoy them, but crucially, not suffer if they disappear. The aim is to see your possessions, your wealth, as your slave, something that serves your purposes not as your master, dictating how you feel moment to moment.
That's a really powerful idea for managing desires, isn't it? Especially today. You're not just cutting things out, but changing how you relate to them internally.
Exactly. You don't let external things define your internal state. Your happiness isn't dependent on them.
Okay, I get that intellectually. But let's be real. How do you actually feel that indifference when something you value is threatened or maybe it's gone? That's tough. Did the Stoics have practices for that, for building that kind of resilience?
They absolutely did. They were very practical about this. One of the most powerful tools was something called premeditatio malorum.
Premeditation of evils. Sounds a bit grim.
It sounds grim, but it's not about being morbid. It's about mentally rehearsing potential loss. You actively imagine just for a moment that your wealth is gone, or your health fails, or you lose someone important, or your reputation tanks.
You visualize the negative.
Yes. You ask yourself, okay, if this happened, how would I actually cope? What resources do I have inside me? Doing this regularly as a mental exercise builds resilience. It lessens the shock if or when bad things do happen.
It's like emotional strength training.
Kind of, yeah. And it highlights something crucial. Often, our worst suffering comes from anticipating loss, fearing it, rather than the event itself. This practice helps you realize that even without those external things, your core self, your capacity for virtue, courage, wisdom, justice, temperance, that remains untouched.
That leads perfectly into Epictetus, doesn't it? His fundamental teaching about what's in our control and what isn't. That seems like the absolute foundation for Stoic self-control.
It really is the bedrock. Epictetus knew all about things being outside his control. He was born a slave. He taught that making this distinction clearly is the absolute starting point if you want a flourishing life.
So what did he say is in our power?
He was very specific. What depends on us is value judgments, inclinations to act, desires, aversions, and, in a word, everything that is our doing. Basically, our inner world.
Our thoughts, choices, our will.
Exactly. What the Stoics called proeresis, our faculty of reasoned choice. And this proeresis isn't just about making simple decisions.
What more is it?
Epictetus saw it as the very core of who you are, your true self, your inner citadel, he called it. It's the one thing that no external force, no tyrant, no bad luck can ever truly touch or command.
So mastering yourself means mastering this faculty of choice.
Yeah.
Your internal attitude.
That's it, precisely. It's the only sphere where you have genuine agency, the only thing that is truly ours.
Okay, and what about the things not in our power? The other side of the coin.
Right. Epictetus listed things like the body, wealth, glory, high political positions, and in a word, everything that is not our own doing. These are externals.
So health, money, reputation.
Exactly. Now, they aren't necessarily bad. Health is generally preferable to sickness, right? So it's a preferred indifferent. But it's not morally good or bad in itself, and crucially, it's not fully under your control. You can take care of yourself, but you can still get sick.
And things like reputation.
Definitely outside your direct control. You can act honorably, sure, but you can't force someone else to think well of you. Their opinions are theirs. Same with traffic, the weather, other people's actions.
It's like trying to control the wind.
Perfect analogy. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. Making this distinction clearly helps you focus your energy where it actually matters for self-mastery.
Yeah, why waste all that mental and emotional energy trying to control the uncontrollable? You've got this whole internal kingdom to govern instead.
Exactly right. It's an invitation to direct your will, your proeresis, towards what you can command. Trying to control the uncontrollable just leads to frustration, anxiety, suffering. Temperance, then, is partly about wisely managing that internal landscape and focusing your efforts effectively.
It's like cognitive distancing again, isn't it? Realizing the badness of a situation often comes from our judgment about it, not the thing itself.
Yes. By clearly separating what's truly my thoughts, my choices from what isn't, you gain immense psychological freedom. That's a huge part of temperance.
Okay, so if we understand our fear of control and we're ready to focus our energy, What's the next active step? This brings us to Epictetus's discipline of desire. It sounds a bit like giving up, maybe, but you're saying it's actually empowering. How does that work?
It definitely sounds counterintuitive at first glance,
Yeah.
but it's not passive resignation at all. It's a very active form of, let's say, mental judo. Epictetus gave this formula for peace of mind. Don't wish things to happen as you desire, but wish them to happen as they do. Then your life will flow smoothly.
Wish them to happen as they do.
Yeah, it's not about just letting things happen to you passively. It's an active, deliberate choice to align your internal state, your desires, with external reality, whatever that reality might be. Instead of constantly trying to force reality to fit your wishes, you bend your wishes to fit reality.
But doesn't that kill ambition? Doesn't it mean you just accept bad situations?
It's a crucial distinction. It's not about stopping striving for goals or trying to improve things. It's about the attitude you have towards the outcomes, especially those you can't fully control.
Okay, explain that more.
The Stoics use this great metaphor from Cleanthes, the second head of the school. Imagine a dog tied to a moving cart.
Okay.
The dog can fight the rope, strain against it, bark, get dragged along miserably, exhausted, maybe injured, but it still ends up wherever the cart is going.
Right.
Or the dog can recognize the situation, accept that the cart is moving, and trot along happily beside it. Maybe sniff around, enjoy the journey a bit.
Both dogs end up in the same place.
Exactly. But their internal experience of that journey is totally different. Cleanthes said, "Fate guides the willing, but drags the unwilling."
Ah, I see. So the destination, what happens externally, might be the same, but your experience depends on your internal disposition. You're not giving up goals. You're just changing your attitude towards the inevitable bumps in the road.
Precisely. You don't add unnecessary internal suffering, frustration, resentment, despair to external events that you can't change anyway. This discipline is about directing your proeresis, your will, toward what you can control, your judgments, your responses, your desires.
So you desire what's actually possible and virtuous.
Yes. By wishing for things to happen as they do, you avoid the suffering that comes from railing against the inevitable, and you free up your mental energy to act virtuously within your actual sphere of control. It's a core part of temperance, recognizing limits and finding freedom and peace within those limits. It's a shift from wishing the world was different to embracing it as it is and then deciding how to act well within it.
Okay, let's shift to conquering destructive emotions, which is a huge part of self-mastery. And maybe the big one is anger. Seneca called it brief insanity, didn't he?
He absolutely did. Seneca saw anger as incredibly corrosive to our tranquility. He even called it anti-joy. And he wasn't just guessing, he'd seen the damage firsthand in the Roman elite.
Powerful people losing control.
Yes, ruining lives, families, fortunes, even impacting the empire, all driven by this brief insanity. He didn't mince words. He said, "No plague has cost the human race more."
Wow, more than actual plagues.
That's how destructive he saw it, leading to killings, poisonings, lawsuits, betrayals, ruining cities, nations. Not to mention the damage it does to the angry person themselves. He concluded that being angry is just a waste of precious time you could be using constructively.
That's heavy charge.
Yeah.
What did he think was actually going on in the mind when someone gets angry? What's the root cause?
He pinpointed two key mental judgments. First, the judgment, "I've been harmed," or "I've been treated unjustly."
Okay, the perception of injury.
Right. And second, the judgment, "If I've been harmed, I should seek payback. I need retribution or vengeance."
The desire to strike back.
Exactly. And when those two judgments click together in the mind bang, you often get extreme destructive anger. It's a very quick, almost automatic leap from perceived harm to wanting punishment.
So it's not just the event itself, but our interpretation, "I was wronged." And then the immediate impulse, "they must pay." That fuels the fire.
That's the crucial insight for temperance. It means there's a space, a potential gap, between the event and our reaction. We have a choice in how we process that initial feeling.
And Epictetus had a technique for this, right? The pause.
Yes, a very practical one. He basically said, pause. Recognize your impression as just an impression, not necessarily the truth or the whole story. Anger grabs you fast, he knew that, and it clouds your thinking.
So pausing creates space.
Exactly. It creates a critical moment, a space between that first flash of feeling wronged or that urge for revenge and your actual response. In that space, you can look at the feeling more clearly, analyze it. Is it true? Is it helpful? Is retaliation really the best course? It helps prevent those impulsive, often regrettable reactions.
It's like hitting the pause button on your emotions before you hit send on that angry email or say something you regret.
That's a perfect modern analogy. It's about not just reacting instinctively, but stepping back, examining the situation with reason. It's ancient mindfulness, really.
So you, the listener, have the power to create that space, to let reason step in before the rage takes over, whether it's road rage or something at work or with family, interrupting that chain reaction.
It's a fundamental skill. And this idea of cognitive distancing is key. Marcus Aurelius used metaphors like seeing our opinions as just beams of sunlight shining on external objects, or like we're wearing tinted glasses.
Meaning our judgments color reality.
Precisely. Realizing that the wrongness or harm we perceive is often filtered through our own beliefs, expectations, maybe past hurts. That realization helps in what he called the purification, catharsis of the mind. It lets us separate our value judgments from the events themselves, leading to a more temperate, rational response.
Okay, let's talk about another really pervasive one, worry and anxiety. It feels like our minds are just wired to constantly scan for threats and negative possibilities. How does temperance help us deal with that constant mental chatter?
Seneca was brilliant on this too, a real proto-psychologist. He saw foresight, our ability to think about the future, as a divine gift. It's essential, right, for planning, creating, avoiding danger.
Yeah, without it, we'd be lost.
But he observed, there is nothing worse than worrying about the future or what could happen, which for most people is a leading cause of psychological anxiety. People take this amazing gift, foresight, and turn it into a weapon against themselves. They torture themselves with imagined future disasters that, honestly, mostly never happen.
That's a fascinating paradox. The very tool meant to help us navigate the future ends up paralyzing us in the present. A misapplication of a powerful ability.
Exactly. And the Stoics offered very direct ways to counter this. It's really no surprise that modern cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, drew so heavily on Stoic ideas. Albert Ellis, a key figure in CBT, was very open about this debt.
He based his famous ABC theory on Stoicism.
Directly. It's incredibly simple but profound. A is the activating event, something happens. B is your belief, opinion, or judgment about that event. And C is the consequence, your emotional and behavioral reaction.
Okay, ABC.
The huge Stoic insight, which Ellis adopted, is that A doesn't directly cause C. It's not the event itself that makes you anxious or upset. It's B, your belief or judgment about the event.
Give us an example.
Sure. Let's say you lose your job. A, it's not the job loss itself that makes you depressed. C, it's your belief. B, that this is a catastrophe, or I'll never find another job, or this means I'm a failure.
It's the interpretation that creates the suffering.
Exactly. And the Stoics taught, and CBT teaches, that you need to focus on B, scrutinize your beliefs and judgments, because that's where your control lies. That's where temperance comes in, managing those beliefs.
So for you listening, that anxiety you feel, it's often coming from your judgment about what might happen, not the potential event itself. And you can learn to question those judgments. That's an act of self-control.
Absolutely. Changing the B changes the C. And that brings us back to cognitive distancing again. Marcus Aurelius reminding us to see our opinions like tinted glasses.
Right, realizing their projections.
Yes. And that helps purify the mind, catharsis. It creates that space to challenge those automatic, often unhelpful assumptions that fuel worry. You can ask, is this belief really true? Is it rational?
Yeah.
Is worrying about this actually helping me? Is this potential future event even in my control?
Questioning the beliefs changes the emotional outcome.
That's the core idea. It's temperate thinking in action.
From anxieties about the future, let's go to maybe the biggest fear of all for many people, death. It's so fundamental.
Yeah.
How does temperance, this art of self-control, help us face something so final?
For the Stoics, death wasn't this terrifying bogeyman that it is for many. As one source puts it, life for the Stoics is an ongoing project, and death, its logical, natural endpoint, is nothing special in and of itself and nothing that we should particularly fear.
Just a natural endpoint.
Yes, simply the natural conclusion of the process of living, a return to the elements. They understood that the fear of death often poisons life itself, pulling us out of the present moment with anxiety about the inevitable.
Okay, but that's easier said than done, surely.
Yeah.
The fear of the unknown, of non-existence. It feels pretty hardwired. What specific insights did they offer?
It is hardwired, you're right, but they approached it rationally. One powerful practice was memento mori, remember death, not to be morbid, but to use the awareness of mortality as a motivator.
How so?
To live more fully, more virtuously now, Seneca put it starkly. A man cannot live well if he knows not how to die well. The idea is contemplating your own end helps strip away the trivial stuff, forces you to focus on what really matters, and makes you appreciate the time you do have.
And Epicurus, even though he was from a rival school, had that famous line about death.
He did, and it's very comforting in a logical way. He said basically, when we exist, death is not present, and when death is present, we do not exist.
So we never actually meet. We're never in the same room, so to speak.
Exactly. We never experience death as a negative thing happening to us. And the Stoics really practiced this kind of indifference, not just to death, but to other externals, like physical suffering. It wasn't grim resignation. It was a path to inner freedom.
You mentioned Epictetus earlier being lame.
Yes, from abuse he suffered as a slave. He didn't see his lameness as a tragedy. He called it an impediment to the leg, but not to the mind. It was just an external fact outside his core self, his proeresis, an opportunity even to exercise virtue, acceptance, resilience.
The story about his leg being broken.
Incredible, isn't it? Reportedly, as his master was deliberately twisting his leg, Epictetus calmly warned him it would break. And when it snapped, he supposedly just said, "There, did I not tell you that it would break?" It wasn't bravado, it was profound detachment from what he considered an external event, not touching his true self.
And Pyrrho, the skeptic, not even flinching during surgery. That level of detachment is almost unbelievable.
It highlights their view. Pain itself is indifferent, not morally good or bad. Our suffering often comes from our judgment about the pain. This is terrible, I can't stand it. By separating the physical sensation from our catastrophic judgments about it, by choosing acceptance of the inevitable, we free ourselves from a huge source of anxiety. That's temperance applied to our very existence.
This idea of indifference clearly extends beyond pain and death to things like wealth, status, fame, things our society often obsesses over. How does temperance help us navigate that pressure?
Oh, hugely. It's a powerful counter-narrative. Look at Musonius Rufus, another key Stoic. He was banished by the Emperor Vespasian to Gyre, apparently a horrible, barren island exile.
A really harsh punishment.
Extremely harsh. Yet people who visited him there said he never complained, never seemed disheartened. His argument, exile deprives a person of nothing that is truly valuable.
Nothing truly valuable. What did he mean?
He meant it couldn't stop him from being courageous or just or wise or temperate. It couldn't touch his character, his virtue. That inner core remained intact regardless of his external circumstances.
So if your inner world, your virtue, is what truly defines your worth, then no external situation, no emperor's decree, no bad luck can diminish you. That's incredibly empowering.
It really is. And Seneca echoed this constantly, right? Regard riches as your slave, not your master. Chasing wealth, fame, status. Epictetus reminded us these are not our own doing, not fully in our control.
So tying your happiness to them is basically giving away your freedom.
Exactly. You're handing your peace of mind over to luck, to circumstances, to what other people think, Temperance says. Enjoy these things if they come your way. Find their preferred indifference, but remain fundamentally indifferent to whether you have them or not. Your real value, your true wealth, lies in your character, your virtuous choices. That is always within your control.
That's a powerful message for you, the listener, today. Your true worth, your capacity for good, can't be taken away by your job title, your bank balance, or what people say about you. It's an inner treasure that's truly secure. Okay, as we talk about these, well, pretty high ideals, inner freedom, detachment, virtue, it's easy to feel a bit overwhelmed. Is the Stoic sage, this perfectly calm, virtuous person, just an impossible dream? Does it make self-mastery seem out of reach for regular people just trying to get through the day?
That's a really important question, and it brings up what philosophers call the all-or-nothing fallacy. It's true that the early Greek Stoics sometimes described the sage in almost superhuman terms, totally aloof, emotionally unshakable, perfect virtue.
Yeah, sounds intimidating.
It can be. But the later Roman Stoics, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, they were, as one source says, far more realistic. They shifted the emphasis.
How so?
They focused less on the perfect, perhaps unattainable sage and more on people who were trying to make progress toward virtue or toward improving their characters. They called them progressors.
Progressors. I like that. So it's not about reaching perfection tomorrow, but about the effort, the journey.
Exactly. It's about the consistent effort, the daily practice, the trying, the getting better bit by bit. It acknowledges that self-improvement is messy. You stumble, you make mistakes, you have bad days. The key is getting back up, learning, and staying committed to the path.
That feels much more achievable, much more human. It's not about instant perfection, but about the striving.
Precisely. It's a continuous journey of learning and applying these principles. Seneca even argued that a life of constant ease without challenges would be terrible. It wouldn't test or build your character. Epictetus said, "It is difficulties that reveal a person's character. The struggle itself is where virtue is actually forged."
So if the goal isn't instant perfection, what is the ultimate aim for us progressors? What are we striving towards?
The ultimate aim is still virtue. The Stoics define virtue as the only ultimate good for a human being. Now, that doesn't mean every single thing you do has to be some grand virtuous act. It means that every other endeavor is intentionally pursued only in ways that are compatible with achieving virtue. Virtue becomes the guiding principle, the ultimate measure. It's valued for its own sake, for the order and harmony it brings to your life.
So it's like a compass for everything else you do, making sure your other pursuits don't contradict or undermine your commitment to living well.
Exactly. And this isn't just some external rule imposed on you. The Stoics believe the drive towards virtue comes from the inside, as it were. It arises naturally from our rational nature, from understanding what it means to be a flourishing human being.
So it's not just following rules, it's reason itself guiding us.
Yes. When you choose integrity or resist an impulse you know is harmful, you often do it because your own reason tells you it's the right, coherent thing to do for your life. It's an internal conviction that a healthy mind naturally develops.
Which means self-mastery, temperance, isn't just about avoiding bad stuff. It's about actively pursuing this highest good, virtue, which then naturally orders your life and gives it meaning.
That's the idea. It provides that underlying coherence, that purpose. Without a philosophy like this, one source notes, people can flounder, working hard one day only to undo it the next because there's no guiding principle. Virtue provides that direction.
Okay, so how do these big ideas, virtue, progress, reason, actually translate into daily life, into habits? Epictetus gave us a practical framework for this, didn't he? 3 disciplines.
He did. This is really where the rubber meets the road for cultivating temperance day to day. Epictetus outlined 3 key disciplines, or areas of practice, designed to help us live in accordance with reason, which is the heart of Stoicism. These are like the pillars of self-mastery.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first is the discipline of desire and aversion. We've talked about this a lot already. It's about aligning your desires with reality, wishing for things to happen as they do, accepting what you can't control, and desiring what is truly good and achievable, namely virtue. This is the foundation for inner peace.
Right, managing what you want and don't want. Got it. What's the second? This sounds like it connects to handling anger and worry.
Exactly. The second is the discipline of assent. This is all about carefully examining your impressions and judgments before you agree with them, before you give them your mental okay.
So vetting your thoughts.
Pretty much. Epictetus stressed the importance of preserving yourself from error and insufficient reasons. It means pausing, especially when strong emotions hit, looking closely at the impression and only assenting, agreeing with it if it's clearly true, rational, and relates to things actually in your control.
Don't just believe everything you think.
Essentially, yes, don't be hasty. Don't just react to the first flash of thought or feeling. Use your reason as a filter. Is this impression accurate? Or is it just a projection of my fears, my ego, my biases?
That sounds like a constant active mental practice, like being a gatekeeper for your own mind.
It is, very much so. And the third discipline ties it all together. The discipline of action. This is about acting appropriately in the world, in line with our rational and social nature.
Social nature.
Yes, fulfilling our responsibilities to others, to society. The Stoics believed we're all connected through shared reason. All people are brothers and sisters, Epictetus said. We live in a universal community, a cosmopolis.
So this discipline is about ethics, how we treat others.
Exactly. It's about acting justly, fairly, with kindness, fulfilling our roles responsibly. Think of Marcus Aurelius. His meditations are full of him reminding himself of his duties as emperor, seeing them not just as burdens, but as his way of contributing to the common good, even when it was incredibly difficult. It's about engaging with the world ethically and purposefully.
Wow. Desire, assent, action. That's a really comprehensive framework. It covers your inner world of wants, your inner world of thoughts, and your outer world of behavior. Were there even more specific sort of daily exercises they recommended?
Oh, yes. Marcus Aurelius' meditations are basically his personal workbook for these kinds of exercises. He used practices like morning meditation.
What did that involve?
Mentally running through the day ahead, thinking about challenges you might face, people you might encounter, difficult situations, and then visualizing how you intend to respond virtuously. How would Socrates handle this? How would Zeno? How can I employ courage or patience or justice today?
So preparing your mind proactively, pre-paving the day for virtue.
Exactly, setting your intention. And then, during the day, mindfulness, this is about catching yourself in the moment. Looking for those early warning signs of negative habits or impulses, anger flaring up, wanting to indulge excessively, feeling envious.
Nipping it in the bud.
Yes, pause. Gain that cognitive distance we talked about, analyze the impulse, and then choose a healthy substitute behavior, something constructive aligned with your values instead of just reacting. Some Stoics even recommended keeping a journal, tracking habits you want to change, very similar to modern self-improvement techniques.
It really is like modern psychology, just ancient. Response interruption, cognitive restructuring.
The parallels are incredibly strong, and another key practical point Epictetus hammered home was choosing your company well.
Who you hang out with matters.
Hugely. He advised avoiding non-philosophers, not in a snobby way, but meaning people who aren't committed to virtue, who might drag you down or undermine your efforts.
Be careful they don't rub off on you.
Precisely. He had this great blunt analogy. If a companion is dirty, his friends cannot help but get a little dirty too, no matter how clean they started out.
Huh. That's wonderfully direct. If your friend is metaphorically muddy, you're going to get splashed.
Yeah.
You've probably all seen that happen, right? You spend time with complainers, you start complaining more.
It's a powerful reminder. Self-mastery isn't just fought inside your own head. Your environment, the people you surround yourself with, they have a real impact. It's about internal discipline and making wise choices about your external influences.
Okay, let's pull back the lens a bit. Where does Stoicism and this focus on temperance fit in the bigger picture of ancient philosophy?
Yeah.
Where did it come from? Who were its rivals?
Sure, Stoicism traces its roots back to Socrates, like so many schools did. Zeno of Citium founded it around 300 BCE, and he was influenced by the Cynics, who were also Socratic descendants.
And they weren't alone, right? There was a lot of debate.
Oh, absolutely. It was a vibrant intellectual scene. The Stoics constantly engaged with rivals. There were the academics, Plato's followers, who became known for skepticism about knowledge. There were the Peripatetics, Aristotle's school, focused on observation and finding the golden mean. And, of course, the Epicureans.
The pleasure seekers.
Well, yes and no. They advocated pleasure as the highest good, but a specific kind, tranquil, stable pleasure, avoiding pain and mental disturbance. Epictetus, in particular, spends a lot of time arguing against Epicurean ideas, especially making pleasure the ultimate goal.
So lots of disagreement. But was there anything that united these different schools? Any common ground?
Yes, and this is fascinating. Despite their major differences, almost all these schools were fundamentally eudaimonic.
Eudaimonic.
Meaning their core goal was to figure out the best way to live a human life. How to achieve eudaimonia, often translated as flourishing or well-being, or truly good life. Whether they thought the path was through virtue, like Stoics, Cynics, Peripatetics, or pleasure, Epicureans, or something else, they were all tackling that same fundamental human question: how should I live?
So it was a shared quest for human flourishing, even if they had very different maps.
Exactly. It highlights this deep, enduring human drive to understand how to live well.
Now, it's interesting that the Roman Stoics, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, are often the ones we know best today, maybe even more than the Greek founders like Zeno or Cleanthes. What was their unique contribution? Why do they resonate so much?
That's a great observation. Their contribution was immense, particularly in making Stoicism feel more, well, human and practical. As we touched on, the early Greek ideal of the sage could seem very remote, almost godlike, aloof and emotionally detached.
Hard to relate to.
Very. But the Romans, they were living complicated, messy, high-stakes lives. Seneca was navigating treacherous imperial politics, dealing with immense wealth and power, and eventually faced exile and death. Epictetus overcame slavery to become a revered teacher. Marcus Aurelius was ruling a vast empire through wars, plagues, and constant pressure.
So their philosophy was forged in the fires of real life.
Absolutely, and that comes through in their writing. They focused on the struggles of the progressor, people like us, trying our best but falling short, dealing with flaws, facing adversity. They wrote with incredible honesty and vulnerability about their own challenges.
That makes it so much more relatable, doesn't it? They weren't just theorizing from an ivory tower.
Not at all. They were applying the philosophy to their own lives, minute by minute. Their guidance addresses leadership, grief, frustration, temptation, the whole spectrum of human experience. That focus on practical application, resilience, and the sheer humanity of the struggle is why I think they continue to speak so powerfully to us centuries later.
And it's incredible how many of these ancient ideas seem to pop up in modern thinking, especially psychology. You mentioned CBT earlier. Where else do we see Stoicism's echoes today?
The echoes are everywhere, sometimes explicitly, sometimes implicitly. Stoicism is arguably the school of ancient Western philosophy with the most explicitly therapeutic orientation. It had that massive toolbox of psychological techniques.
The direct link to CBT is probably the strongest.
Definitely the most direct and well-documented. Albert Ellis wasn't shy about it. He saw Stoicism as a direct precursor and even recommended Epictetus. Aaron Beck, another CBT pioneer, also acknowledged the influence. The core CBT idea of challenging maladaptive thoughts is pure Stoicism.
So techniques like cognitive distancing, stepping back from your thoughts, recognizing impressions as just impressions, challenging those automatic negative judgments, focusing on what's actually in your control. These aren't just historical footnotes.
Not at all. They are living principles, fundamental to how we understand and improve mental well-being today. They offer a practical, time-tested framework for anyone dealing with stress, anxiety, anger, depression, or just the general difficulty of being human.
It's amazing. Stoicism isn't just some dusty old philosophy. It's like a foundational operating system for the mind. Still relevant, still effective.
That's a great way to put it. Its principles offer these timeless strategies for managing emotions, making rational choices, building resilience, and ultimately finding that deep sense of inner freedom and order, the essence of temperance. That thread runs straight from Zeno and Epictetus right into modern therapy rooms. It shows the enduring power of these ideas.
Wow. Okay, what a journey through temperance. We've seen it's not just about saying no, but about this active, intelligent self-mastery, directing our desires, managing our judgments.
Understanding what's truly ours to control.
Right, and practicing that discipline daily to build towards a more tranquil, more flourishing life. Being the master, not the slave, of your inner world.
It really does come back to agency, doesn't it? And that ongoing commitment to progress. Epictetus had that incredibly powerful passage, didn't he?
The one about the Olympic Games.
Yes. How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? You have been given the principles. Remember that the contest is now, you are at the Olympic Games, you cannot wait any longer, and that your progress is wrecked or preserved by a single day and a single event.
The contest is now. No waiting. That really lands. It makes it urgent, doesn't it? Every moment is a chance to practice.
Every moment is the arena.
Which brings us perfectly to our final provocative thought for you, our listener. If real freedom comes from mastering your inner self, not controlling the outside world, then what's one specific destructive desire or maybe one reactive impulse that you will commit to really examining this week, to applying these principles of temperance to?
What small, concrete act of self-discipline can you practice consistently starting today?
What little step towards temperance might just open the door to a greater sense of that inner freedom, that tranquility in your own life? Give that some thought. Make that commitment. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.